I spent a while going back and forth over whether or not to make this video, but I've obviously decided to do it. For one, I don't really have any other ideas right now, and for two, I can make whatever I want to, even if it's a video about why I make videos. I'm also making this in the vague hope that constantly talking about my issues will help me work out how to fix them. It's not worked yet, but maybe it will one day. You'd think that first I'd come up with an idea for a video, but often the first step is actually recording a half-hour episode. This usually gives me a good chunk of footage that I'll end up using in the larger scripted video, but I also generally get my ideas quite quickly after playing through something new. This is how it often goes for one of my more essay-style videos at least, like the Terraria video I did. Playing that for my video and stream made me nostalgic for when I originally played it, and put into perspective just how different I felt at that time. That made it a particularly easy video for me to write. After choosing my topic, the next step was obviously the script writing. This is, as I mention quite frequently, the hardest part for me. I set out a series of rules and practices to try and make my script writing as easy and consistent for me as possible, but even then it usually takes me a good week or two just to do the writing. I usually plan out time to write leading up to when a video needs to be ready, but I always keep the script up in Google Docs so I can write whenever I get the urge. My favourite videos to write are the ones which practically fall out of me fully formed. My video on Super Mario Sunshine, for example, was one of those, which I wrote over the course of about 2 days. I try to write about 1,000 words per video, because at my speaking speed that works out at about a 6-minute long video. Ideally I'd like them to be more like 10 minutes, but I talk quite fast so it usually ends up being shorter than that. I then make a plan by breaking down the 1,000 words into 10 100-word topics. I'll write these out as single word headings, and then write in a non-linear fashion as the mood takes me. Doing this helps me keep on topic with each one, and then after that I'll work out the best order for each. Generally I'll end up collapsing a few sections or outright removing them, and then extending others, but this way I at least hit the word count that I want. For my less opinion-focused videos, this is also when I do the majority of my research. The robots video, for example, took a lot of research into a variety of topics, from philosophical discussions on the nature of life to the structure of various ant colonies, all the way to the reproduction of T4 bacteriophages. While this isn't frequently my style, I do kind of enjoy working like this, as it lets me learn a little bit about a lot of things quite quickly. I will say though, that I always feel really uncomfortable releasing such research-heavy videos, just in case I've gotten anything incredibly wrong. Once the script is written, my process can go one of two ways, but more often than not I go to footage selection. This is where I'll collect all the footage I already have from the game, or games which I'm talking about, add them to my project, and then try to find bits which match the script. I also use this time to make the overlays and intro for the video. After that, I'll make a list of the bits of missing video that I need, like where I'd make a reference to a specific mechanic or situation, but which isn't adequately represented in the footage I already have, and then I'll go off and capture that. Very rarely I'll also need to make something special, like the board for my tier lists or the animation I did for my robots video, which I'll also do at this point. The other thing I can do at this point is record my audio. Luckily for me, I've gotten pretty okay at doing this, so it doesn't take me too long. I also use this time to rewrite sections of the script which I don't feel quite work anymore. Often when you write something it will seem perfectly fine, but when it comes to reading it out loud it's suddenly awful. I'll first try to just fix it on the fly as I record, but sometimes I'll have to actually rewrite an entire section. I already know I'm going to rewrite a lot of this script when it comes to recording, because of all the times I've used the words like often. It takes me around 30 minutes to record a 10-minute script, with a lot of that being the downtime between takes or fixing bits of the script. And finally we get to the editing, or at least the audio editing. While not particularly difficult, this is probably the single most tedious part of the process for me. Due to the way I record, I end up with one Audacity file for each paragraph of my script. I then have to go through each of these and remove the background noise, trim out errors, coughs and things like that, then compress and normalise each track. While I could record the entire thing in one go to give me only one file to edit, which is obviously how my podcast works, this way has a number of benefits. For one, it's much easier to time in the video with perfect cut paragraphs rather than a single exported file, and for two, this also allows me to take breaks when I need to without losing track of where I'm up to. It's also a lot easier to fix one broken paragraph should something go wrong than recording the entire script again. Predictably then, the next step is editing the video. I've done enough of these now that I have templates for different styles of video, which makes the process a lot easier, but it mostly just consists of taking the video and audio files and stitching them together. It's pretty simple, and I actually find it pretty chill, but it's definitely time consuming and a bit dull at times. The intro I've already made at this point, and my outro I use for an entire month, and even then it rarely changes, so that's already taken care of by the time we get to this point. I've done most of my shot selection earlier in the process, so it's generally just making sure they line up with the recorded length of the audio, and then cutting and transitioning to new shots when appropriate. I personally like a more relaxed style to my videos, which is why the cuts tend to be per paragraph, rather than per sentence, which you might see in some other videos. Once all the pieces of footage and audio are set up properly, next is the underlying music. While not completely necessary, it tends to feel kind of empty without anything under the vocal track, especially between the paragraphs. I like my music to be tracks from the relevant games, usually the main theme depending on how bombastic that music is, but especially in videos all about one game, I'll just choose a selection of my favourite songs. After all of that, we render the file out and upload it. This requires basically no effort from me, but it can take a while depending on the length, video complexity and size, etc. I've got a spreadsheet which writes my descriptions for me, which I built last year. I just fill in a few pieces of information like the chapter timings, what games are in the video and things like that, and it spits out the correct description for me, which saves me a lot of time. Then the real final step is scheduling all the social media posts, be they Twitter or Patreon, to go live when the video is up. At this point, that video is finished, and then work starts on the next one. That's how a lot of my videos work, but sometimes it'll be a more specific type. Tier lists, for example, require me to replay a lot of things that I'm already familiar with, and also talking a lot with other people helps me solidify my ideas there. My Game of the Year lists take an entire year to make, writing a little bit about each game I finished from that year, and constantly arranging and rearranging the list until it's finished. I haven't talked about my process for half-hour videos in this video, because they're very simple, so there's not really much to say. The longest part of those is really the research for release dates, developers and those sorts of things, just because sometimes that information isn't already collated. I've even had times when I've had to track down release dates, particularly for mobile games, by reading the reviews because it's not easily reported anywhere. Sometimes I'll also have to create my own logos for the game, as adequate PNGs for it don't already exist. My podcasts are almost entirely identical to making a normal video, though there's much more time spent on the audio editing and much less on the video side, so there's not really much more to say. The only other style of video I make frequently are the sentence videos, which have an incredibly fast turnaround time. The longest part of making a sentence is actually playing the game. Because I only make a sentence for a game I finish, some can technically take hundreds of hours to make, though in reality the video itself is completed in around 5 minutes. As soon as I finish a game, I'll write and record my script for it to try and capture my feelings at that exact moment. Then I'll grab the music I need, find some gameplay footage I've captured for it, make the thumbnail, and then slot all of it into the templates I already have. After some minor tweaking for transitions, that's basically done. Writing this video was weird. The process of making this has really illustrated to me all of the things I like and all of the things I hate about making videos like this. I just don't enjoy writing. I like much, if not all, of the rest of the process for making a video, but I just don't like writing. Maybe this would go better if I could find someone to write with, but I feel like I'm not the best person to work with, so I don't even know if I could do that. I want to make more of these, but it's kind of gotten to the point where I don't think I can, and certainly not at the rate I feel like I should. I've gotten some ideas what I'm going to try to do in the future, but right now I think I'll have to say goodbye to videos like this. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my patrons Heaven Over Hell, Justin Wood, Hobbs, Koopy Vegeta, Gunrunner, Water and Bad. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, follow me on Twitter at Holden Gatsby, and follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/Holden Gatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to both of my channels. Thanks for watching, bye.